Bonjour, welcome to another episode of Beer of the Week. The beer this week is yet again back to France. It's Abbaye du Lys, which is this beer here. Again, it's a 750ml bottle of beer. You can get these in a smaller bottle as well, but I thought for the purpose of this video we'll get the bigger one. And once again, you'll see that this beer, it has a cork, and I've started to realise that sticking a cork in a beer has a strange allure for me, similar to G-strings, but of course not on me. This is one of the all-time great beer bottles in my opinion. It's opaque, it's like a cream colour, and it's got little flecks in it, and actually it's got texture to it. And once again, let's just give that a rub, and when we open it up we'll give it another rub and see if there are any genies in this one. But as I say, it's an absolutely fantastic bottle, and I'm really liking that. I might stick a flower in it later once it's finished. Let's have a look at the back of this bottle. It's got some interesting things here. Some of the bottles that I buy are entirely in the language of the producer. For example, most of this is in French. However, there's also English on this one, and so it's quite handy because I can actually tell some of the ingredients, and amongst other classic beer ingredients like malt and wheat and rye and hops, the secret sauce in this one is actually orange peel. It has orange peel in it, which is quite interesting really. The other interesting point is that it's got ascorbic acid, which is in fact vitamin C. So this is fantastic because what we have here is it's like a bottle of vitamins. We're going to get all our vitamin C by drinking this today, so it's a wonderful option. It's missing a few of the other vitamins, of course, but hey, let's face it, vitamin C is a big one. As far as this beer goes, we'll open it up again. It's got a cork in it, and let's hope that the workout in the last few hours is going to help me to open this bottle, unlike some of the rather almost embarrassing moments recently. I'm just going to put it down to slippery fingers more than any other thing. Okay, so we've got our, pull this cork out. Here we go, here's a winner. Beautiful, there you go. Bière Tradition. It's a proper cork, in fact. It's not a fakie, it's the real McCoy. So that's very nice. All right, there's the cork. So again, we've got the actually a Shiraz glass, 700 or so mils, to taste the beer as I normally do. And the other thing I want you to know is I've got my board shorts on here because back in the land of Oz, I hear it's like about 40 degrees or something where I come from. So, hey, you know what? I thought I'll put on the board shorts, you know, as a bit of sort of like a bit of mood thing. I was going to put on some surfing music and have a few kangaroos pop around the apartment, but the kangaroos have gone down the pub, so I couldn't disturb them and get them back in time. Anyway, I've got my boardies on, and I've got my thongs on too, but I won't show you that. And we won't talk any more about thongs, given the G-string comment before. All right, so let's have a look at this beer. Pour it into the glass, and I've been getting a few nasty comments about my head, so I'm going to try and reduce the head on this one. There it is, that's slightly more controlled head. And, we forgot to give the bottle a rub. Hang on, let's give that a go. Is anything coming out? No, not even smoke or steam or anything like that. Is anybody in there? No one in there. Never mind. One day we will crack a genie. Right, so let's have a look at this beer. It's a triple distilled beer, according to this. Triple fermentation, sorry, not distilled, triple fermentation. And at one stage I will do a beer of the week and explain the concept of triple fermentation. This is again a lovely colour. In fact, it's an opaque, but it's a very nice orange, and you can see that it's got wheat in it because it has that sort of cloudy look, which I really enjoy in a beer. In fact, there was a classic brewery in Australia called Redback Brewery opposite university where I used to go, and they used to have a great wheat beer there, and that was a very similar colour to this. It's got a nice head on it, given I had a bit of a controlled pour this time rather than just plonking it straight in the glass. So it's, as I say, it's a very lovely, the lovely amber sort of colour, opaque, suggesting the wheat, and let's have a smell of this one. Again, it's superb. I guess I know now it's got orange peel in it, so maybe that's sort of convincing me here, but with a little bit of imagination, yeah, I can actually smell orange in that. So just with a little bit of imagination there, but I think you can actually get the orange aroma. So far so good. I do want to say that I've actually had this beer a few weeks ago, and I wanted to again profile a French beer. I really love the bottle here, and I've tasted this beer before, and so I know my opinion on this beer. So it was one of the beers I definitely wanted to feature in this segment. So we've had a look at it and we've smelt it, and so let's go to the third part and taste it. Okay, again, I do always slosh it around in my mouth and really try and get the beer back up into the nasopharynx so I can really get an appreciation of the full taste, which is a combination, as I've explained before, of taste and smell. In fact, smell is a bigger factor in taste than the actual concept of taste really is. This has a very, very nice upfront taste. There is some hint of alcohol in this. It's actually, surprisingly, it's 8.5%. So that again is a very strong beer. But having said that, the surprising thing when you taste it is that the alcohol is not as big a feature in this beer as some of the other beers that I've already profiled. The alcohol is there, but it is not as strong a upfront feature of this beer, and it's deceptive because it means you'd have a few of these and you'd be probably completely flattened by it because of the percentage of alcohol. But having said that, I do enjoy the fact that the alcohol is a more subtle concept in this beer. Having said that, it doesn't probably have as much of the full flavour as particularly the last beer that we the Quack that we profiled. It's not as rich a beer. This would be a better beer, I would say. It's a very strong beer, so let's face it, you'd have to have a fairly decent food dish to go with this. But this is something that wouldn't completely knock your taste buds out if you were to have food with this beer. The last beer that I had, certainly you can have food with it, but you would have to have much stronger flavours because it did have a much bigger palate, a stronger palate than this beer actually has. I can actually taste hints of orange in this, so, but I'm not sure if it's just because I've read the label and that's just convinced me. But yeah, I can definitely taste some hints of orange. So all in all, I've really enjoyed this beer as well. We're going to score it out of 10 on the PAM scale. The PAM scale is, of course, the Pat and Cam homebrew, where the PAM gets a 10, and we can go right down to 0, of course, for vinegar, or an empty bottle would be 0 too, I guess. So for this beer, let's just have a bit of a think about this one, because I had it a few weeks ago, and as I say, it's not quite as strong a beer. I'm not talking alcohol here, I'm talking actual flavour of this beer. I'm going to give it a 7.5, this one. A 7.5, mainly because of the fact that it's probably more akin to perhaps the last beer we profiled was it had a very complex flavour in my mouth. This does as well, but it's a lighter flavour, and I probably did expect something a bit different. 7.5, mind you, is an extremely good score because there will be beers undoubtedly that I will score a 2. And in actual fact, the beers that we've tried so far both got an 8 from memory, and that is an extremely high score because, let's face it, I mean, you know, the Pan Brew was like nectar of the gods. So we'll give this one a 7.5. It could have got an 8. It probably could have got an 8. But I'm going to give it a 7.5. The particular feature I do enjoy about this beer, which possibly should push it into 8, is the fact that although it's an 8.5% alcohol, and it should be really therefore quite really in your face when you drink it because of the alcohol, the brewers have actually done a wonderful job of having a strong alcohol content, but not that being a feature in your mouth straight up, and that is actually a feature I really enjoy about this beer. So we're going to stick with 7.5, but look, it's a borderline 8. So anyway, I hope you have a nice week, and we'll get into a wine of the week at some stage, hopefully later on in the week as well, maybe something like some Chablis or Champagne or something like that. Have a nice week. When you're in town, or maybe it's available in your country as well, this is a superb beer really. 7.5 is a great score, and I can highly recommend that you try it out. Au revoir.